Hey, what's up YouTube? It is Blacktop here. Today I'm bringing you another installment of the Staple Series set of videos that I'm doing on cards that are really good that competitive players pretty much need in order to play the game. This video is a little bit more subjective, however, this installment is over Floodgates and Stun cards. So not every deck can play Floodgates, not every deck can play Stun cards, but there are a couple decks that can. Basically, you'll kind of see, if you don't really know what Floodgates and Stun cards there are in the game, you'll kind of see what they do and kind of see like what decks you can put them in the following cards. So I'm going to go over those and hopefully give people who want to be competitive a sort of guide as to like what cards they should use as far as Floodgates and Stun go. That's really the whole point of the Staple series. So let's get into it. So the first one I want to talk about is AntiSpell Fragrance. This card is excellent in True Draco. It's excellent against any deck that relies on its spells. So flip this up against Sky Striker, and you can pretty much, stop them for that turn at least. It's had 6 printings, and it's at 431 right now, so not terrible in price. Overall, a really good card. People hate Floodgates, by the way. If you don't know that, and you're new to Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever, people really hate Floodgates. I am definitely one of those people who hates them as well, but they're oftentimes very important for the game. So AntiSpell Fragrance is a really good one. Next is Goes and Match. This one prevents your opponent from controlling multiple attributes of monsters. So great for mono attribute decks. Basically anything that can play, a single, light, dark, earth, wind, fire, and water. Any deck that can do that can play only one of those. This card's great in that. Excuse me. It's had 2 printings. Right now it's at $6, and that's like one of the cheapest ones, which is pretty crazy, honestly, considering it's a common in that. But I don't know. It's a really good card. I don't think maybe a lot of meta decks right now are playing it. Maybe Thunder Dragons. That's the only thing I could really think of, but I don't know. Anyway, next is Rivalry of Warlords. This card is basically Goes and Match, but for types. And it also commands a pretty hefty price for being a common as well, over $6. Even though it already has had 4 printings, it's still kind of expensive, but it's really good in those cards. True Draco played this card a lot. I think even Altergeist played this card still. Just there are a whole bunch of decks that can play this card really well, so really good card there. Next is There Can Only Be One, or There Can Be Only One. Sorry. It's a cheap card. It's similar to Rivalry in that it deals with types, but this one's a little bit like, I guess you could say worse, but it says each person can only control 1 monster of each type. So it can be worse and better. It just depends. But like if you flip this up against like a mono type deck, they're pretty much screwed. But then again, you would also be screwed if you played something. I don't know a whole lot of decks that play, only 1 monster of each type. I don't know a whole lot of decks like that. And as such, it's not one of the better ones, but it is pretty cheap. It's 142, is a super rare. It's only had 1 printing, so I would never expect this to go up or anything like that. Next, Skill Drain. This is a pretty old one, actually. This came out a long time ago, and as evidenced, it has 7 printings, so it is fairly old. But it is a very effective card. I know a lot of decks can play this card. A lot of decks that focus around just getting out big monsters that don't have very good effects, and just like skill draining, so your opponent can't use their monster effects. That's a really good strategy. So like in Blue Eyes, this card's good. I think in Cliports they used to play this card maybe back when they first came out. Of course, nobody plays Cliports anymore. And its market price right now for the cheapest one is $7.01 as a star foil from Battle Pack 1. I should have mentioned at the beginning of the video, but right now I will say that the market prices, I tried to pick like the lowest market price on TCG Player to put on this, just so you know like what you'd have to do minimally to get these cards. So Skill Drain, really good card there. Along the lines of Skill Drain, there are 2 more Drain cards. There's Soul Drain and Mind Drain. Sorry for the mouse on the screen there. Soul Drain is basically Skill Drain for banished and graveyard monsters, and Mind Drain is for monsters in the hand. Soul Drain, like Skill Drain, is limited to 1 copy per deck, so make sure you realize that. And these cards are not particularly expensive. Although I will say, Soul Drain right now might be getting some hype because of Thunder Dragons, but a lot of decks focus on the graveyard and having monster effects to activate when they're sent there, etc. So Soul Drain kind of iffy, but Mind Drain, nobody really plays that either. But just so you know, these are other Floodgate type cards. Imperial Order, this is also a classic one. It's at 1 right now, I believe, and it kills spell heavy decks. It's had 4 printings, but it is a 663 as a secret rare from Pharaoh's Servant. That's its cheapest one. It's a really good card, really broken, honestly, if all things are considered. Basically, it's immune to removal from spell effects because it negates all their spell effects. That being said, though, it does negate your spell effects as well if you play it, so be wary of that. Royal Decree is like Imperial Order, but with no cost and for traps instead. So it's basically like a continuous trap version of Jinzo, I guess. That'd be the closest thing. And right now, its cheapest printing is $1.03 as a super rare from the Secret Forces. And it's had 9 printings overall, so it's not very hard to come by. It's probably had a couple of common printings by now, I think. I'm not sure, but it's just another thing to look out for if you're looking to play Floodgates in your decks. If there ever is again a trap-heavy format, like if Ultrageist become the meta and nothing else does, I mean, you'd expect to see Royal Decree. Next is Dimensional Barrier. Now we're getting into more of the stun cards. This is also kind of a Floodgate, but Dimensional Barrier is a really good card. Basically, it can shut off anything from the extra deck. You have to declare which type, though, except for links, and it can also shut off Ritual and Pendulums as well. It's just a really good card. It's a kind of a classic card, too, even though I think it came out in like 2016, I want to say. So not that long ago, but it's still really good. Right now it's sitting at 188 as a common from the structure deck. I think it's structure deck Cyber's the Link. Yeah. But I don't think the secret rares from either Invasion Vengeance or the Megatins that had Invasion Vengeance in them, I don't think they're particularly expensive. So I think you'll be okay trying to find this card right here. But anyway, really good card. Next we have Mistake. This basically is like, you're prevented from searching, and your opponent is too, of course. It's had 3 printings. Right now it's at 162 for the gold. I think that's Infinite Gold, Premium Gold version. I'm not sure. Yeah, but it's a really good card, honestly. Pretty annoying. If you don't know anything about the meta right now, Thunder Dragons can make a monster that's basically a Mistake on legs, and it's only for your opponent too. So it's pretty good when used in the right context. So that's just one more card you want to look out for. Anything that's search heavy is really good, or really bad against this card. This card's really good against them, I should say. So that's just something to keep in mind, maybe as a side deck choice. Next, Inspector Border. These are definitely getting into the stun cards now. It's a really great stun card. It's basically it's like the better version of a Mono Awato, if you know what that is. I mean, yeah, it's like definitely better. I mean, it has a bigger body. It doesn't leave the field. It's had 2 printings. Excuse me, 2 printings. Lowest one is the 623. It's a secret rare from the 2018 Megatins. I think the original one it came out in, Extreme Force, I think its price is like maybe $2, $2 more. But Inspector Border, really good card. If the main instance I would use this is if you were a going second deck and your opponent made you go first, you would just side this in, and then you could, not allow your opponent to play, basically. So that's that for Inspector Border. Really good card. Denkos Echo. This one's seeing some more popularity now that Thunder Dragons have come up in the meta, because it's a Thunder monster, of course. This one locks down Spell and Trap, set Spell and Trap cards, and also your opponent can't set them either, or neither player can, rather. It's had 3 printings, and right now its cheapest one is the Ultra from the new Challengers. I think that was the first set it came out in, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it should be. Which is kind of weird, why that would be the lowest price printing, but that's the way it is. If you're playing Thunder Dragons, this card is a must-have. Not much else to say about that. Next, Dynapac Pachycephalo. I think that's how you say it. Pachycephalo, something like that. It's basically Vanity's Emptiness, if you don't know what that is, on legs. I did not include Vanity's Emptiness in this discussion because it is currently banned, but if it ever does come unbanned, it's a great card to pick up. It's got 4 printings, and right now it's 95 cents as a common from Astral Pack 4. It's a good Floodgate card, good Floodgate stun card. Not bad at all. Next, Thunder King Gryal. This is a pretty classic one. It's had 6 printings. Right now it's a 267, and basically this is another Mistake on legs. Also, you can negate a special summon with it. So I think a lot of Thunder Dragon decks are playing this card as well. If you notice, Thunder Dragons, rightfully so, have that sort of stun aspect to them, which is, with the theming of Thunder and Lightning and all that stuff is kind of funny. but it makes sense, you know. So really cool there. Thunder King Gryal, really great card, especially back in the day, and pretty good now. Next, Vanitys Fiend. This saw a lot of play with Monarchs because it says monsters cannot be special summoned. Neither player can special summon monsters, rather. It's had 6 printings. It's a really good card, honestly. One time I was playing against True Draco, and they used this card against me, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do anything. I play Cyber Dragons. All of them are special summons. I can't do anything. But it's a really good card. Pick this up definitely if you're playing like True Draco or something like that. I think is it limited? I think it's limited to like 1 maybe. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's limited maybe. I don't know. So that's Vanitys Fiend for you. Really great card there. And I think that's going to be it for today, folks. If you enjoyed this video and you found it educational and maybe you learned a little bit about competitive cards you should have in the Floodgate and Stun area, consider giving me a subscribe and definitely a like. And you know, if you want to see more of this content, just let me know by giving me a like and subscribe, and tell me if I missed anything down below in the comments. If you have any favorite stun cards or favorite Floodgate cards that were not on this list that are still really good, please tell me. I know I missed Secret Village of the Spellcaster, or the Spellcasters, I think. I know some Altergeist players are playing that. I didn't really include that. That's more of a highly subjective Floodgate card there. But just let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. This is Blacktop YGO signing out.